What's poppin'? This is ShanGO Ray, aka Real Deal Ray, and you know what time it is? That's right. It's time to get you some go, some ShanGO, you know. And I got some lovely go gasms to just hand out, shoot out all over the place. Okay. Um, this video is probably one of the most important videos that I've ever made. I'm gonna keep it very brief. Um, I don't know how many of y'all also remember. We were about to launch a membership site that specialized in magic spells for your mind for a plethora of different things, whatever it is that you needed. There was something missing also, which is why we never came out. This is the cornerstone of my pyramid. Okay. What I'm about to share with you right now is going to allow you to directly communicate with your subconscious mind. It's going to imagine if you had the opportunity, right? Obviously, there's something you are going for, something that you're chasing after, something you've been wanting, something that seems to have been eluding you, okay? Your subconscious mind knows what the problem is and knows what to do about it, okay? Now, of course, your subconscious mind is always going to be talking to you. Challenge is, the subconscious mind often talks in symbols, primarily talks in symbols, okay? And a lot of us, many of you don't know your symbols, or you might be too busy or whatever, so whereas you miss it, or your subconscious mind is always talking to you in your dreams, of course, through symbolism and stuff like that. But what if you had a direct way? What if you could take your subconscious mind like from within you and sit it in a chair right across from you, and you could sit down and look at your subconscious mind in the eye and say, okay, buddy, I'm so glad we got to talk. We need to address this problem. We need to make some changes in this area and in this area. What do we got to do? And imagine you can get the answers that you needed. Well, the reason I say this is the cornerstone, and by the way, there's a name change as far as, not to segue, but I'm gonna start putting it out there because it's coming very, very soon. And I'm glad I waited, because this tool that I'm about to share with you right now is going to allow you to basically customize all the material for your needs, because I don't believe in cookie cutter approaches. And the reason why maybe something is failing you is might be different than the reason why something is failing somebody else. So we need a way. I was looking and searching, and Papa Shangito found that, and I got to bring it to you. So I'm actually going to share with you the cornerstone tool of, and it's now called Self-Help Sorcery. So that's going to be the name of the site, Self-Help Sorcery, because that's exactly what it is. We're using magic. You're using magic to help yourself, or possibly change some other shit around. But the point is, you get it. You're doing it, and therefore you assume responsibility, the ability to respond, and you assume the power. Now, what am I fucking talking about here? How do we do this? Okay. Now, obviously, there's more to it than this, but what I give you here is a very good start. And honestly, I ain't seen nobody really dropping no jewels, uh, kind of like this that I'm about to share with you. What I'm about to share with you is very simple. It does take a little bit of patience, though. Okay, and some of you already kind of know about this. Okay, but this is going to allow you, as opposed to dreams and all these other things. Like I said, this allows you to have the conversation with your subconscious mind right here, right now. you know, because in actuality, there are two parts of it. Now, real briefly, before we get into this, before I show you what the tool is, okay, this is some of the reasons why you would want a technique or a tool like this at your disposal before you do any magic, before you do any type of reprogramming, before you attack what you think is the problem. And that's a problem in and of itself. Many of us have chasing the wrong goddamn horse, okay? because we consciously think it is something when it's not. And your subconscious mind is like, that ain't the problem, you know? But how would we know if we don't check in? Now, this key right here is also when you hear people talking about, you got to do the work, you got to do the work, this is the fucking work. This is the know thyself aspect. You're going to go down the rabbit hole of you. You know, I don't know if that came out wrong, but you're going to find out so much shit about yourself. Stuff that you forgot about, stuff that you didn't even know was a problem. I mean, this is the true meaning of know thyself. Not on the egoic level, I don't like peas. You know what I'm saying? I hate the color shitty green. You know what I'm saying? Like all that other shit. Yeah, that's I guess that's part of knowing yourself. How much does my head weigh? You know what I'm saying? Like how big is my skull? Okay, but that's surface level shit. This is where you get to play the detective and find out. And whatever challenges in your life are clues, they're indicators, they're signposts saying, hey, you know what I mean? There's something here for you, which is why there's a challenge, which is why there's you experiencing resistance. Okay. So the tool that we're going to be using, and now I made this in 2 seconds. Okay. And this tool costs you absolutely nothing. All right. You probably can't see it because the lighting and shit, but it's a thread tied to a key. You can use a bolt, you can use a washer, you can use whatever you want. Probably the strings about this is too long. The first one I ever made was a washer. The kind of like a thick washer that goes on a bolt. Something kind of heavy though, and that's all you got to do. Okay. First and foremost, too, also what you want to do is you want to definitely drink some water. You want to make sure you're properly hydrated. Whenever you're going to do energy work or muscle testing and stuff like that, you want to make sure you're properly hydrated because sometimes that can throw off the signals too. And what we're doing here is we're using the power of ideodynamic. Uh, I think that's what you call it. Um, like muscle responses, the same responses that you'll have that you have no control over, that are called micro expressions. And there's other physical things that we do automatically that we have no control over because your subconscious mind controls those movements. So the quick micro expression or whatever that really kind of shows what you're really feeling or thinking, those are uncontrollable. So in the same way, your subconscious mind is all throughout your body. Okay, so I have subsequently though picked up this little baby. All right, this is Bertha because she's a Bertha. She's birthing a new me. New year, new me. No, this is how you really new year, new me. Okay, all that other shit is bullshit. If you ain't working with your subconscious mind, you specializing in failure. I can tell you right now, hit or miss type shit. If you want to really, amp up your hits and really get an understanding of you, which is the main point anyway, you want to get something like this or a tool. You don't need this though. This is just something I wanted. This is a shungite orgonite pendulum. Once again, eBay's your friend. This was like $7, $8, $9 or some shit like that. Dirt cheap. Came real fast. But let's just say that all I have, I want to get started now, and I don't feel like waiting 2, 3 days for this shit to come in the mail. You could just do this. So what you're gonna want to do, you're also gonna want to like, make sure your arms nice and loose and all that, So get the blood right, drink you some water, relax. Um, you want to be able to hold it in your 2 fingers, okay? And this might actually have to be 2 videos because I'm actually going to have to be needing to go here. You don't want your elbow resting on something, okay? And you don't want it tucked into your side. You want it free. So you want to be in a nice little position where you could just kind of like, have your arm relaxed. I like to have it draped over my finger like this. And the wider your elbow, the more dynamic the swing is going to be. But you don't need it to be dynamic. But at first, what you want to do, you could do simple things like just, swing it back and forth. and really just kind of ingest. Now, of course, I'm doing this, right? So you want to ingest that feeling as far as what this feels like when it goes back and forth. You could steal, Still, not still, but back and forth. There's six main directions, okay? Back and forth, side to side. There's diagonal shots, if you understand what I'm saying now. Okay, there's diagonal shots, and of course there's clockwise, and then there's counterclockwise. Okay, and I I was gonna say we don't assign a meaning to these swings. Okay, now after you're done with that, what you want to do, and first of all, let me tell you before I even go on to another instruction. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of moving fast here, but one of the main reasons why you want access to a tool like this, as opposed to even like cards or something like that, is of course you're holding it. It's using your muscle fibers and, like I said, your ideo dynamic muscle movements. But many times, and many of you right now are actually doing this, okay? And it's no harm, no foul. But you guys are chasing after the wrong thing. You're chasing after the wrong bad guy, if you will. Now, what the reason why I say that is because let's just say you're having a problem with your finances, or you're having relationship problems, or you're having money problems, and it's kind of like a theme, and it's also a cycle. So it's happened more than once. Might be a different face, different place, whatever, but it's happened more than once. Okay, that's letting you know it's cyclical. It's a pattern. Okay, so there is obviously something within you causing you to experience that. Now, the problem is a lot of times we use our conscious mind to try and figure out subconscious shit, and that's just not going to cut it. Okay? So, we want to give space and room to the subconscious mind. So, as opposed even down to the little details, like for example, instead of me saying, "Okay, this back and forth means yes." Do you get that? No. Every time I do a session, I'm going to need to calibrate these pendulums. Okay. So every time I do a session, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to have it still, and I'm just going to focus on the word yes. And I'm just going to focus on the word yes. And sooner or later it's going to start moving, as long as I'm just focusing on yes, 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 yes. See, I'm already starting to get this diagonal shot here, and I'm not even really concentrating. But so, for example, in this particular session, a diagonal this way would be my subconscious mind's way of saying yes. If I did another session later on today or tomorrow, it may be different. But that's fine. You got to let the subconscious mind kind of do what it does, right? But like I was trying to say and allude to before I started babbling off, because there's so much here I want to say, which is why I'm going to need to do two videos on this. And even in two videos, there's a lot more to this, and of course your own practice and experience. But you want to be able to have the subconscious mind tell you what the problem is and tell you what the solution is for you. Okay, because you could spend months, years, you could be trying all these different magic spells, you could be trying all this and that, and really that's not going to cut it when you can have a more direct route. Why not go to the source? Why not be able to listen? So let me give you an example about that. Okay, um, as many of you know, I have my challenges. Years ago, um, I was without residence. Okay, and I remember looking back at that time, and I remember when I had actually lost my apartment. Okay, and I remember having to pick up my daughter's shit, and I remember how traumatic, how much of a failure I felt like, how much of a loser I felt like. Just, I mean, you name it. And I thought that that was probably one of the biggest problems, or what the challenge was. Like, I don't want to, like that fear of failure. If you're on the ground and you can't fall too far, right? So I thought that was one of the blocks as to why I was homeless, and lo and behold, that was not actually it. I found out and discovered some other things about myself. For example, how much that I love freedom. And in my own mind, my subconscious mind viewed it as, if you get in another apartment, you're going to have to get a job or two. You're going to be stuck in the grind. You're never going to have no time for yourself. You're going to suffer. You're going to die slow, nigga, every day. So that's what I had in my mind. Okay. That was the real problem. Okay. And when I was finally able to sit down with my subconscious mind and say, hey, look, I understand you're protecting me from, what you think this may be. But I'm here to tell you that us not having a place is a problem. Now, your subconscious mind may not even know that it's a problem because it thinks it's just doing its job to protect you. That's its number one thing, is to protect you. It's like your district manager, okay? You the owner of the corporation, but that's your district manager that runs fucking everything. And it has managers and managers and managers, like subconscious programs underneath it, and that run everything about you. Your subconscious mind knows everything about you. So that's one important reason why you want to make sure you're able to check in and have this conversation with your subconscious mind, because it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of energy, and some things may not even be resolved just instantaneously in one day. Your subconscious mind says, hey, I need you to do, I need you to do whatever for 21 days, and I'll be ready in 21 days to change this. Okay. Okay, no problem. Now I know, as opposed to me, swinging in the dark, trying all this different shit. Many of you have maybe even tried, affirmations, or hypnosis, self hypnosis, and stuff like that. And if you have no inherent, subconscious blocks, or whatever you want to call them, in a certain context or a certain area, then a lot of times that programming can take hold. It can get a footing. But many of us have these traumas, these beliefs, these attitudes, these perceptions, these possibly even reversed emotional currents when it comes to certain things and within our system, or one certain aspects of our system, because we're layered individuals. We got different bodies. We have all that shit. So, like I said, let's get back to this. So this is just very, very quick and simple. Okay. So you want to establish yes. Okay. You want to establish yes. And then you want to kind of clear. Maybe you have another little sip of water or something. And then you want to start just concentrating on no. And you want to tell your subconscious mind, show me no. Show me no. Now, as you see here, it's going in a counterclockwise direction. Okay, I have no preference as to which way it should move or not, which is another reason why I say at the beginning of every session, you want to kind of do this brief calibrating thing between the yes, the no's, show me an I don't know, show me I'm not ready to answer that shit right now, show me an I don't know, like whatever. I think I just said that, but yes, no, um, I'm not ready to answer that. There's, like I said, that's a whole other subject, because honestly, when you're going to do this type of work, you're going to pick one area, one problem, one challenge, and you want to try, and you got to play detective. Now, I would suggest that you write down specific questions at a time, you know, as to, hey, is this a problem that originated? Is the reason why I'm experiencing this challenge related to my childhood? If it is related to my childhood, um, is it between the ages of 3 and 6, or 7 and 10, or whatever? Because then you could go back after, and your subconscious mind can direct it. Yes, it's 3 to 6. Okay, now that we're 3 to 6 is when I was like 3 years old. No, okay, is it 4 years? Okay, 5 years? Okay. You know, you want to play detective and you want to think along the lines of when, who, how, and other shit. Like I said, we'll handle all that. But another thing you also want to do, and I think this is mucho importante, and you only got to do this once. And like I said, I can hook you up with some more questions or how to phrase it. But basically, you want to make sure every time I use this now and in the future. This is after you've got your yes and your no's and your everything calibrated. And you only got to do this one time. Now and forevermore into the future, that you're going to tell me the absolute truth to the questions or whatever, because sometimes your subconscious mind will play tricks. Okay, now it gets a lot even deeper. There's ways that you can use this to actually spell out exactly what the fucking problem is. Now, even in that, when it does that, sometimes it will use a coded word, so you might not even know the exact meaning of the word in that moment, but it will unpack itself to you. Okay, and sometimes you might, but this is, like I said, so powerful, so dynamic. You can use it with virtually anything, any system, any modality. And like I said, this is all about you. And this is all about really actually learning yourself from your subconscious mind out and up, and your subconscious mind is the super duper terabyte, multi-billion terabyte hard drive that has all the information and has access to the akashic records, and other information that it should not know. But your subconscious mind definitely knows everything about you. It has everything recorded that you ever experienced, taste, felt, seen, you fucking name it. So why not start working with the source? Now, we're going to have another video out tomorrow where I'm going to detail a little bit, just some techniques as far as how to approach this. I gave you the basics. It's very simple. It's very simple. But the way you do it is going to make a difference on whether this is just willy-nilly or whether this is strategic and allows you to traverse the chasms, the dark deep chasms of your subconscious mind. Okay, so that also involves how you ask your questions. You never want to ask dead end questions such as, am I good enough to do this? Am I capable of doing this? Am I worthy of doing this? Because you might be treading into sometimes you're gonna have to negotiate with your subconscious mind, because at first your subconscious mind is like, fuck that, we ain't doing that shit. And you have to you have to be able to talk with it, and you literally are going to be having a conversation with yourself. You're going to be talking to yourself. You're going to be saying, hey, look, I get it, man. You're trying to keep us safe and everything, and I mean, I love you for that. But look, we could be a billion times more happier, experience a lot more joy. And this is what I really want. So meet me halfway. What if we could stay safe, but we can also still have what we want? Would you be willing to help me then? Would you come on board? Can we Voltron up and click up and link up and get this shit done? You know, that's how you find out. That's how you do it. You know, get your subconscious mind on board. Okay? So we'll be back tomorrow. I'll discuss more questioning techniques, things to keep in mind as you approach this, which is going to make things a lot easier. A, B, help you to avoid a lot of confusion and troubles, because sometimes, like I said, your subconscious mind is like the elegua, the Papa Legba, also because it's a trickster. It can play tricks on you. Okay, please. So that's why you got to have it established, and you got to make sure it's clear and it knows that when we do this, you tell them the truth, the absolute truth. Okay, no bullshit. All right. So, anyways, this is Shango Ray. Peace and blessings, and we back at you tomorrow. This is very, very powerful shit. I definitely want to be sure that you're able to at least begin asking questions, and even just because sometimes the simplest questions can lead to miraculous uh, results. Oftentimes they do. Now, there's two things that you're going to get out of this too. There's insight, and then there's catharsis. Sometimes when you're doing this, you're going to have catharsis. What is catharsis, Shango? It's basically an immediate emotional release. Okay, when people oftentimes go to that altar call and they're playing that heartfelt music, and they get saved by the blood of Jesus, hallelujah, they accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. What they're actually doing is experiencing a form of catharsis. That's why it feels like that, because you're finally releasing this shit that you've been holding on to. And even if you have to imagine that you're giving it to a higher power of some kind, it does not matter. You know, whatever you got to do to get there. Okay, but the catharsis is not everything. Sometimes you'll have the insight and you'll be like the aha as to why I'm like that, or why I started doing this, or why this and that. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to immediately have the catharsis. Okay, but if you have the insight, you also have enough to start making moves with it, to where sometimes it's a gradual releasing. Sometimes your subconscious mind needs time to reconfigure things so that it knows it's safe for you to release. You understand? So anyways, let me not talk because I'll keep talking for another fucking hour here. So peace and blessings to you. We'll be back with a little bit more in-depth detail. I just gave you the basic physicalities on this. Tomorrow we're going to cover a little as far as techniques and mental techniques that you can use when you're doing this, okay? And effective ways to ask questions and get answers, all right? So peace and blessings.